Welcome to Spotlight in Business. I'm Tammy Defoe, and I would like you to meet Jaspreet Chager. She is the owner of chager.org and an AI specialist, and she will be the guest speaker at GTApreneurs May 13th virtual networking event. If you haven't got your ticket yet, please tune so now. But before then, I want you to get to know Jaspreet a little bit more. So thanks for coming on the show today, Jaspreet. How are you?
Hi, Tammy. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here on the show today.
You're very welcome. Yeah, it's a pleasure. I'm just so happy to introduce you to everybody. So tell us more about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, my name is Jaspreet. I am an AI specialist. So I help businesses and individuals really use AI, implement AI safely and effectively to really improve their daily lives. So not just their work, but their life overall. And I happen to be a pharmacist by profession as well.
It was so interesting how you transitioned from being how did that happen actually from pharmacist into AI specialist?
I know it is an interesting story and quite the journey. So just bear with me for a second when I go back about 7, 8 years where all of this kind of started. Most of my career has been in corporate support of pharmacies. So I had a lot of experience with strategic support and whatnot. I found myself in a really difficult situation about 7, 8 years ago. I was going through a separation, and at the same time was raising two kids and was managing pretty big files. I managed COVID vaccine rollout, so pretty massive files I was taking care of, and I was drowning, taking care of all of it. I think a lot of single moms would understand that experience. And I found AI during that journey. One late night, I just took to it when ChatGPT came out. I've always loved tech, and so I just started playing with it, and it changed my life. I realized I had found a tool that could support me not with just with work, and I think that's how everybody kind of looks at it, but literally with my entire life. It really was a tool of empowerment, and I don't know if enough people talk about it that way, and that's what makes me most excited about AI is just how empowering it actually can be. So yeah, quite the journey to get here. But I do employ most of my experience from pharmacy because pharmacy is regulatory heavy, and that's a lot of the work that I've done in my career is supporting businesses with regulatory compliance, and I do support that through AI as well.
Fantastic. Yeah. So in terms of the regulatory, like, because I know one of the things you brought up before is security. So yes, tell us how you help people with that.
Well, I make sure that they're compliant with the rules and regs that are specific to their industry.
Mhm.
More and more rules are coming in place with AI. Like even if I just think about healthcare in my industry, in pharmacy, last year there was nothing, and currently this year we're seeing some guidance. So I help support companies to really implement AI so that they don't get in trouble, that they don't break any laws, that they're compliant with privacy rules, data retention rules, all of those pieces, because it can be easy to ignore them, and often we just think of one or two different platforms. We think of ChatGPT, and we don't really understand what's happening with the data behind the scenes. I think most companies probably don't understand what's happening with their actual data, other than
Mhm.
understanding there's probably something happening with it, but really not understanding how they can be compliant with the rules and regs that are in place in Canada right now.
Absolutely. No, I think that's really something important for people to learn because, yeah, I mean, especially, like with the chat GPT, but even some other ones, right? Who is accessing your data? So you have to say, what if everything you're saying, you're asking about a client, you're asking about whatever, you're sharing whatever information, even about yourself, even yourself personally, like who can see this data? So that is important to learn that. And how can you use these tools for your benefit, but with not having yours and other people's personal information, or whatever financial information like out there for other people to grab.
Yeah, for sure. Safety is the biggest thing. And I think that's, sometimes missed in the AI conversation. As much as I love what AI can do and the opportunities, and I use it every day for my personal life and to improve it as well. Security and regulatory compliance are always core to my offerings and just even how I approach everything daily. I always want to make sure that I'm not breaking any rules, that the people that I'm working with as well, that they're complying with the rules and regs and not going to find themselves in a situation a few months down the line.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even because I mean, right now the government's still hasn't figured out, I think, everything they can do with terms of regulating in that, right? So, I mean, so even some people say, well, it's not overly regulated right now, so I'm just going to do this. But I mean, it's not just about that. It's about if something gets out there, right? And someone can sue you personally, like for whatever case. And then again, maybe it's just your personal stuff and you don't want that getting out there. But in terms of like, I know we mentioned that, help you in your personal life a little bit. So how can people use that to help them in their personal life?
Well, let me give you some examples of how I use it personally.
Yeah.
So, I use it to help me with meal planning, and I do it uniquely and differently than most people would. I have seen some people in the AI space do it this way. I literally take a picture of what's in my fridge and what's in my pantry, and I stick it through AI, and I build weekly meal plans. I build grocery lists from it. I get the AI to check for coupons that are available. I also use AI in my daily life to sell things, like so putting things on Facebook Marketplace. It's just basically taking a picture for me. I have automated the entire process. So I just take a picture, it's automatically on Facebook Marketplace, and I can sell it. I have reinvented my, for going through a separation, legal support is, critical. And I would never say that AI replaces
Yeah.
a lawyer for sure. I would never say
Yeah.
that, but for sure it does help you with the research and understanding what your lawyer might say, right? So it helps
Yeah.
save costs. So I have been able to create my own lawyer. I've also created my own financial dashboards and whatnot. So again, doesn't replace an accountant or a financial advisor, but a lot of these things I've put in place are part of that empowerment piece, is that they help me sleep at night. They help me understand, what the reality is in my life. Whereas in the past, I relied on everybody else to feed this information. I am now doing it myself. And that is super, super empowering. And that's why I love this technology so much, is that so different from any other technology we've seen, where you see true personal empowerment. And I kind of say, like, it actually helps you dream in a way that you couldn't dream before, like, because these things weren't possible before. So now all of a sudden we're allowed to dream in a unique way because AI just makes it possible, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a couple things, right? I mean, we did talk about before that, it's not always accurate though, right? In terms of legal advice or whatever, you do need to still verify that or whatever. But I mean, at least it can, help you, right? Just, because especially out there, like if there's a lot of, like illegal stuff out there, it can help you interpret it. It can help you put it in layperson's language, right? Yeah. And I mean, with the empowerment, I mean, I'm so happy that you helped me recently, right? You did something for me, right? And then it was like I had this issue with my website that I had this new plugin and it wasn't like looking how I wanted to look or whatever, instead of waiting around for like the people who made it to help me with it because they weren't getting back to me yet. They're taking a long time, or paying someone else, right? Because I actually did that, pay someone else when I had tried another plugin out. I'm like, I'm just going to use Claude, right? And it was like, okay, so what do you want to do? Okay, just take a screenshot of this. Let me see this. Okay, try this code, right? I tried. No, that didn't work. Try this code. Oh, that worked, right? And then it's like, oh, can I help you with anything else? Yeah, sure. Let's do this, right? And it's so good. And I like the fact that it gets excited about helping you, right? So it's kind of like cool. And I mean, at first with certain things, like I do my own writing, right? Typically in that, right? I've got strong writing skills because I just kind of feel like it's cheating in a way, but it's kind of like some things you have to look at the fact that, okay, look, if I'm going to pay a person to do this, what's the difference if there's a person doing it for me or if it's AI doing it for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know? So one thing I did too recently is I was trying to get a new graphic for one of our events, so our new market event. So I wanted to make it kind of different than the other ones, right? And I'm looking through Canva and stuff like that, right? I'm not finding what I wanted to. So then I just described it to, and I use Gemini for that one. I find Gemini is the best one for the visuals, and then Claude's for coding or whatever, right? There's different apps for different things. Anyway, so yeah, so it's good. So I like that one. And then from there, I was able to kind of adapt it to inspire it, right? It's not like people have to just use it, it's just exactly how it is. You can still modify it and things like that. And for a website, which this is not necessarily going to make sense to everybody, but there's meta titles and meta descriptions. So when you search for something online and you see the organic rankings, so you see the different websites and stuff, there's always a title and a blurb. So the title is your meta title, your SEO title, then the other one's a meta description. So it always gives me say, hey, would you like AI to generate meta description, right? And so then I used to do it myself, but now there's a thing I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, right? And so then it gives me a couple options. And I mean, sometimes I'll kind of pick a little bit from this one, a little bit from that one, right? And that. But sometimes it just gives me the full thing. I'm like, okay, well, that was easy. It saved me some time because otherwise, I can do it good, but I kind of just do it similar for each one. So I'm like, okay, fine, let me just give an idea, right? For blog posts, I still do write the whole blog post myself, but you know what? It's good if you can make some images and stuff, like some graphics or images, because otherwise, literally, you can spend hours and
Mhm.
hours looking through stock photos, right, to find
Right,
exactly what you want. Well, that's a waste of time, right? When
right.
you can just say, hey, this is what I want, and you make it for me,
Well, I
right?
think that's what you're kind of describing is that whole like ideation and exploratory process. It just condenses the time, right? So it's just
Exactly.
so much more efficient because you can create the tool. And by the way, I'm so super like internally so joyful that you found empowerment through AI because again, that's completely what I wanted. And I also love the fact that in such a short time, Tammy, you've been able to recognize that different AI tools have unique opportunities. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the biggest misses in AI in general is that people will use one tool and everybody kind of sticks to ChatGPT because it's the most popular. And yes, it's great for image generation as well, but really unique tools are like specific tools are great for specific use cases. I use a lot of different tools. I have primary tools and I have a lot of ancillary services that I use, but just in a short amount of time, I'm so excited to see that like you've been able to actually even figure that out. Where do I go for this and where do I go for this? Really recognizing that they have unique abilities within them, right? So I can actually see how that empowerment is actually coming through. So I'm just so excited to actually see that it's evolved this way for you.
You so much, and I totally appreciate it as well. So thank you so much again for all of your encouragement, because it does take encouragement because it's something like you're just not used to doing, right? Especially as I said, as you go older, you're so used to doing certain things a certain way, and you're comfortable in your things, right? It's something that's new. But I just heard these things online. It's like, well, if you're not getting into it now, then you know what I mean. You're gonna be left behind. So I'm like, okay, yeah, because I know before, like say with Facebook, for example, right? And I never even used to use Facebook really at all. And then I had a friend of mine, she's using it constantly, right? Now, I mean, that's kind of the extreme, right? But I'm like, it kind of was like, okay, let me start using it more, right? Especially when I have my own business now using it. So now it's like, so I was kind of late to the game, is what I was trying to tell you, right? That's what I meant. So I'm like, you know what, this AI thing, I'm not being late to the game. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting on board now. Well, you know, the getting's hot, and then you know what I mean. You can just grow more. So I'm excited, and this is just like not even scraping the surface of what it can do. So I'm excited to build some apps and stuff like that, right? And that because again, it's these things that have been on my list to do that was going to cost all this money to have someone else do, right? Or it's going to take all this time. So by the time I explain everything I want to
Right.
like a developer, right? And I did everything in Canva or Microsoft Word or whatever, right? And then they still have to interpret what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
And then then on top of that, they have to pay them, and sometimes they don't even get it right or whatever, right? Well, it's like let's try to skip the middleman and
exactly.
let's just see if this can do it. So yeah,
Yeah.
so like I said, I did feel that sense of empowerment yesterday, and I still got to do more. So it's like, yeah, I don't have to depend on other people to do stuff to fix my website. I can just do stuff myself. I mean, I can do most of it, but when this thing comes to this special coding, then I couldn't do that before. So, anyways, that's the long story. But thank you so much for that.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome. I just want to mention one thing, and that like none of this conversation and none of the work I do is actually about removing jobs or anything like that. I think there's a place for everyone. I think this is all about transformation and evolution of how things work, really. I think that's what's really happening here. And so we personally are evolving in that our knowledge is so much more rich. Your knowledge now is so much more rich. So I think it's important to also like kind of for everyone to know that if you learn AI, it's not about coming for your jobs or anything like that. It is critical to get on board and learn because these are skill sets that everybody's going to need. But this is really a period of transformation and evolution. I think that's the best way to actually look at it.
Yeah, absolutely, right. But I mean, like it's but I mean, really, it's kind of because there's still some people are going to say, you know what, just do it for me. I don't want to do it myself. But the thing
Yeah.
is that, now before you would pay like a custom app development company like 30,000 or whatever, 10, 20, 30,000 for an app, but now it's going to save them less time. So now they've spent less time. That means they're not paying their team all this time, which means that then they can charge you less, but they can still make their profit, right?
Mhm.
So that's part of it, right? Because again,
Right.
there's always gonna be people who need someone to do it for themselves, but hopefully, so I mean, again, technically you're going to have less team things, but it's just evolving. It's just like before you used to have Blockbuster Video, and
Mhm.
then Netflix came out, and now there's no more Blockbuster. So part of it's just life evolving, but guess what? We still have people have jobs. It's just that your jobs change. from what you were
Exactly.
before, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things that are just never going to get rid of people. Like, when you go to a restaurant, you go to all these different things. There's still things where we want people. Like, I know for me, when I go to like a store, I say I go to Shoppers, for example, and I prefer to go to the one with the person working there, because it's like, when you're getting out of the house doing, I mean, that's just me. Everyone's got their preferences, right? But I like that little interaction I get and stuff like that. So there's still going to be things that you're never going to get, rid of completely, right? In that, but on the other hand, you need more people now who know how to use AI. Right?
Mhm.
That's just a new thing. Hey, if you want to get a job now, you have to learn AI. So people still need to have jobs, but it's just changing. And it's just like before the calculator, right? Like there never used to be calculators. So it's not like everything had to be do long-handed, which just take forever. So you couldn't get things fast enough. So now with calculators, which is like just one step up, it's way below what we're doing now. It made everything so much faster. We could evolve so much better, but it didn't get rid of jobs, maybe some jobs, but there's other jobs to be had. So
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
The same
Exactly.
concept with this thing, right? There's certain things, yeah, maybe certain jobs that would be lost, but then there's other jobs that are gained. So, anyways, I think it's great, and I definitely encourage everybody out there to learn how to use it. So Jaspreet does provide that education for you, just to learn the different tools and figure out what tools are going to work best for you. And then too, if you don't like doing it yourself, she has a team who can build something for you if that's what you want, right? And yeah, just before we go, Jaspreet, can you just
Mhm.
maybe list a bunch of the different types of apps people could? It's not just apps, different type of uses for the AI. Like, we already talked about a couple, right? But someone who's thinking, okay, what kind of app would I build? Just maybe give us some examples.
Okay, so if we just look at like solopreneurs and
Hmm.
where a lot of the efforts have to be applied, so lead gen, so you can create custom lead gen apps for yourself. And when I say create custom lead gen apps, like I'm literally talking about within 10 to 20 minutes, you can prototype and then you work on that for a couple of days or whatever, and then you probably have a good solution sitting in front of you. So you have a CRM. I think marketing is always critical for small, medium-sized employers. So marketing, you could create entire funnels, you can create lead magnets, you can create everything. You can have it completely automated end to end. So all you're doing is approvals, business management, so dashboards, revenue, all just managing all those pieces. I personally, just the way I operate, I have created about 13 different agents that do everything for me on a daily basis. So they will go out, one will go out, do all the research on what is happening in the world today, in the world of AI. Do we need to modify anything in the system because of new AI developments? I have an agent that produces social content for me. I have an agent that looks at all my affiliate links and says, is this the best way to approach this? So I almost have like a board of directors that kind of works. They have their own meetings. So it's very sophisticated, like how you can actually build these things out. So you could just do a simple CRM app. That's one way of doing it. Or you could build the kind of dashboards that I'm working with, where I have literally agent, employee, swarm teams kind of working for me at this point. So and I think it's important to know that that's super easy to do as well. So the delta between doing a simple app or using an AI tool as a chatbot, the delta between that and the knowledge to actually build what I have is not that much. Really, it isn't that much to actually get there. And I think most of it is just applying it and using it and not being scared of the tools at all. Because almost as soon as you start using the tools, all of the ideas, like it'll just start making so much sense. And I mean, use the tools for other things other than just a chat bot. So use it to build Excel files, use it to build presentations for yourself. Once you start doing those little things, then you're going to start seeing capabilities. And then you're going to be like, what else can I do? Then you'll start looking at skills, plugins, connections. You'll naturally just evolve that way. But you're right in that not everybody wants to learn. So part of my business is, yes, I would love to educate because my passion comes from seeing people empowered. It just makes me so super happy. So I start there always, wanting to empower and educate. But if people don't want that necessarily, then, I'm happy to prototype and develop as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, it's fantastic. Because some people are just gonna be like, you know what, I don't have time for that. That just sounds way too complicated for me. So, I mean, like, yeah, I'm just amazed how because I've seen developers for this other custom app I want to build, as you know, and that right, and they're just like, wow, this is so complicated, right? And it's going to cost a lot of money, and that right. I want to even try it. He could just never understand the concept of it, right? And like for you, you just like built it, and I don't know how long it take you to build it, but like better than any other developer I've talked to, right? And stuff, and it didn't cost like anyway. So anyways, it is pretty cool what people can do. So there is something, if it's really super complicated, then yeah, I mean out there you can get Jaspreet and her team to build it for you. But it's good to learn and come out on Wednesday, May 13th to learn how to do some things easier than you ever thought, right? And to see how it can, free up some time for you, how it can help you take some dependence off other, you depending on other people, how it can just take, again, some of your power back. And yeah. So anyway, so thanks for coming to the show today, Jasper. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you on May 13th.
Yay, thank you guys, and thank you for this, Tammy. Really appreciate it.
Wow. You're welcome.